We start though with the governor of Montana, Greg Gianforte, who told me in a conversation we had on Thursday that he hopes to lure more business out of Washington and other states into his state. Now, this follows the announcement this week of Cedar Woolley's Janicki Industries. They chose Great Falls for a pretty significant expansion for their manufacturing campus. They could have found other property, even adjacent to Cedar Woolley. They already have some land outside of Cedar Woolley in Hamilton, Washington. They're already in Utah, but this is a pretty dramatic expansion of their footprint, up to 2,000 additional employees in the years to come. And that's the current number of employees they have. So this is a huge loss for Washington and a great gain for Montana. And the governor there told me, among other things, he says, "We want entrepreneurs. They're like golden geese," he told me. He basically wanted to say, we'll show you a couple things. He told me, "We are open for business. We've been deregulating." He's a Republican, you might imagine, based on some of these statements. "We have eliminated or streamlined 35% of all the regulations in the state. We've had multiple tax reductions. We think people should keep the fruits of their labor." Now, as reported by the Center Square in Washington and Focus Daily earlier this week, Janicki's $800 million expansion and their investment in Montana is going to be 2 million square feet of production space over the next decade. And that creates initially 1,000 new jobs. And then once this whole campus is complete, they expect up to 2,000 new jobs for Big Sky Country. So that is a huge gain for Montana for sure. And Janicki's communication and education outreach manager, Nick Lavaca, told me earlier this week that, in his opinion, Olympia lawmakers just don't seem to get it. He said they seem out of touch with how business really operates.
But if you ever have to sit across the table from somebody that you really like, that you enjoy, that you've worked with, who's helped build your company, and you have to let them go because you just simply don't have the revenue coming in, that's difficult. You know their health issues, their family issues, their graduations and weddings of their kids. You know what they're going through, and you have to sit across the table from them and tell them, you helped me build this business, but right now business is in a slump and I can't afford to keep you. And you know where you're sending them. That's a very difficult position to be in. And it's one that years ago the Janickis had to wrestle with. And they took great losses in their company to keep people employed. But, it's been a little bit of an up and down during 2008, as you know, and various things. So they know that pain and they don't ever want to experience that pain. And I believe people in Olympia that have owned businesses know that pain. And I don't think that enough people have had to sit across from somebody and experience that.
I want to put up a couple of other quotes from my conversation with Montana Governor Greg Gianforte. I tried to get him on a Zoom interview so we could share the video with you, but he was in transit and couldn't do that. I was lucky to get him on the phone. He says, "Yeah, come. We've got the welcome mat out. We want to." Well, he says, "We want them to lay golden W-2 eggs because we want more good paying jobs in Montana." And then he said there's two primary things that they offer businesses in addition to, just having a pro-business climate. He said one is quality of life. And I mentioned that because that's been one of the main things that folks in Washington state have said, no businesses are going to leave. We've got the quality of life here. We've got the mountains. We've got the ocean. We've got the lakes. We've got all of it. He says, we've got all that as well, minus the ocean. But he said the quality of life in Montana is, people want to come there to raise a family. Low crime, lots of open space, hiking, camping, hunting, fishing, lots of things that people here in Washington hold very important to them. And then he said that having a work ethic that won't quit, as he puts it, is something Montanans have grown up on a farmer ranch. And I love this quote. He said, "I always say if it's harvest time and the tractor's broke, you don't call a consultant, you don't form a committee, you just fix the tractor." So he said basically his message to not just Washington business looking to relocate and still kind of be in mountain country, if you will, is you're in one of those high tax states. Do you want to move back to America? So I found that conversation to be really interesting. I did reach out to the office of Governor Bob Ferguson to see if they had any comment. At the time we're doing this podcast here on Friday, I received no response from the office.